My daughter's teacher called me to pick up Emma early, not because she was sick, because she drew a picture titled Mommy and Uncle David's Special Motel Time. I was sitting in my car outside the oncology clinic when Mrs. Patterson's number flashed on my phone. I'd just finished my Tuesday chemo session, number 32 in 8 months of fighting stage 3 colon cancer. My hands were still shaking from the IV. My mouth tasted like metal and defeat. Mr. Hayes? Her voice was tight, professional, the way people sound when they're about to ruin your life but have to stay calm about it. Can you come to the school? We need to talk about Emma. Is she hurt? No, she's fine, physically, but there's been an incident with an art project, and I think it's better if we discuss this in person. 20 minutes later, I was sitting in a child-sized chair across from Mrs. Patterson's desk. Emma was in the library with the aide. The fluorescent lights hummed. Somewhere down the hall, kids were laughing. Mrs. Patterson slid a piece of construction paper across the desk. The purple crayon hearts were waxy, thick from Emma pressing too hard, like she was trying to make them permanent. 2 stick figures lay in a bed, one with long yellow hair, one with short brown hair. Above them, Emma had written in her careful first-grade printing, Mommy and Uncle David, secret place, no daddy. There were heart balloons floating above the bed. She'd colored them in solid red. Emma brought this in for our family unit, Mrs. Patterson said. She wasn't looking at me. We were supposed to draw something special our families do together. My throat closed. The paper was soft at the creases. Emma had folded and unfolded it. Nervous habit. The same thing she did with her homework when she wasn't sure if it was right. When I asked her about it, Mrs. Patterson continued, she said she's been drawing these for months, that Mommy and Uncle David go to the motel when you're getting your medicine. The stick figures were smiling. Emma had drawn her mother and uncle smiling. Mr. Hayes. Mrs. Patterson's hands were shaking now, too. Emma said she's been drawing these for months. I don't remember driving home. I remember sitting in my driveway for 15 minutes with Emma asleep in the back seat, her pink backpack pressed against the window. I remember the way my hands looked on the steering wheel, thin, skeletal, the veins too visible. Cancer hands, weak hands. I remember thinking, I need proof. One drawing from a 6-year-old isn't proof, but I knew. The way you know when you wake up and something in your body is wrong, when the pain is different, when you're not imagining it anymore. I carried Emma inside. Jennifer was in the kitchen making dinner. She kissed my cheek. How was treatment? Fine, I said. She was wearing the blue dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. Her wedding ring caught the light when she reached for the cutting board. Or, no. I looked again. Her left hand was bare. Where's your ring? Oh. She didn't look up from the onions. The clasp is loose. I took it off before my shift this morning. It's in the bathroom drawer. She worked as a nurse, 3 12-hour shifts a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. My chemo days were Tuesday and Thursday. Emma tugged on my shirt. Daddy, I'm hungry. Go wash your hands, baby. When she was gone, I pulled the drawing from my jacket pocket and placed it on the counter. Jennifer went still. The knife stopped mid-cut. Her teacher called me, I said. Thomas. How long? It's not, she's 6. She doesn't understand what she's seeing. Kids mix things up. How long, Jennifer? She put down the knife, turned to face me. Her eyes were dry, steady. That's what I remember most, how steady she looked. I think you're confused, she said. The chemo, it messes with your head. Dr. Wilson said you might experience some paranoia, don't. Cognitive issues. I think you need to rest. We can talk about this tomorrow when you're feeling better. Emma came back into the kitchen, hands dripping. Jennifer smiled at her, kissed her forehead, served her chicken nuggets shaped like dinosaurs. I went upstairs, In my closet, I kept a shoebox. Inside were all my hospital wristbands from the past 8 months. I'd saved them, proof I'd fought, proof I hadn't given up. They were thin plastic loops with printed dates and my patient ID TH47382, purple bands, cancer patient designation. I laid them out on the bed in chronological order. They rustled like dead leaves. March 15th, March 19th, March 22nd, March 26th, March 29th, April the 7th, April 5th, April the 9th, April 12th, April 16th, every Tuesday and Thursday. The pattern was perfect. I pulled out my phone and opened Jennifer's text messages. Scrolled back. March 15th. At Mom's, she needs help with her blood pressure meds. Don't wait up. March 19th, Mom again. Sorry. Her doctor changed her prescription. April 2, staying at Mom's tonight, she's having a bad day. April 16th, Mom needs me. Love you. I counted them. 14 times in 2 months she'd stayed overnight at her mother's house. On my chemo days. On the days I came home gray-faced and vomiting, when I needed help getting from the car to the couch, when I couldn't keep water down. I pulled up my bank account. Our joint checking, scrolled through recent transactions, and there it was. Riverside Motel, $89.99, April 16th. Riverside Motel, $89.99, April 9th. Riverside Motel, $89.99. March 26th, every Tuesday and Thursday, my chemo days. The pattern was perfect. Emma's backpack was on the floor of her room, half unzipped. She was asleep, one arm thrown over her stuffed rabbit, the nightlight casting stars on her ceiling. I knelt beside the backpack and pulled out crumpled homework, a half-eaten granola bar, a library book 3 weeks overdue, and 2 more drawings. The first was dated October the 12th, 5 months ago. The paper was older, more worn, same purple crayon hearts. This one showed Uncle David sitting on a couch reading to Emma. The caption said, "Uncle David reads me stories at the secret place." The second was dated December 20th, 3 months ago. It showed 3 stick figures at an ice cream parlor. Mommy, Uncle David, Emma. The caption, "Secret ice cream. Don't tell Daddy." I sat on Emma's floor holding the drawings. My hands were shaking again, but not from the chemo this time. 3 drawings, 3 different dates. My daughter had been documenting this for half a year. I thought about Emma at school, carefully coloring in those purple hearts, pressing the crayon hard enough to make the wax thick, writing the words in her best printing, bringing it in for the family unit assignment because maybe she thought this was normal. Maybe she thought every kid's mom had secrets with uncles at motels, or maybe she was trying to tell someone. The paper was soft at the creases. She'd been folding and unfolding these drawings for months. At 3 a.m, I was still awake. Jennifer was asleep beside me, her breathing steady and slow. The clock on the nightstand glowed red. 3:47 a.m. In 6 hours, I had another chemo appointment. I thought about walking down the hall, waking David up. He'd been living in our guest room for 2 years, ever since he lost his job and couldn't make rent. I'd let him stay for free, bought his groceries, gave him gas money. He was my little brother. That's what you do. I thought about shaking Jennifer awake, demanding answers, telling her I knew, making her look at Emma's drawings, making her explain why our daughter had been carrying this secret while I was fighting for my life. But then I looked at the nightstand, at the wedding photo in the silver frame, Jennifer in white, me in my dress blues, Emma as a baby in Jennifer's arms. The glass was dusty, like nobody had looked at it in months. Next to it was Emma's school picture from this year, gap-toothed smile, purple hair bow. She looked like Jennifer. I thought, if I confront them now, it becomes real, public. Emma hears her father screaming. Emma hears her mother lying. Emma learns that secrets explode and families break and people you trust hurt you. Or I could gather proof first. Real proof. Enough that Jennifer couldn't gaslight me, couldn't claim I was confused, couldn't use my cancer against me. Enough that I could protect Emma from as much of this as possible. I looked at Jennifer sleeping. Her hand was curled under her pillow. No ring. The bathroom drawer, she'd said. I got up, careful not to wake her, and opened the drawer. There it was. My wife's wedding ring, simple gold band. I picked it up. The inscription inside was still visible. In sickness and health. T-Poje. It was cold. She hadn't worn it in weeks. When I picked it up, it felt heavier than I remembered. Or maybe I was just weaker. I put it back. Closed the drawer. Looked at myself in the mirror. I'd lost 47 pounds since diagnosis. My face was hollow. My eyes were too big. I looked like I was already dying. I went back to bed, lay beside my wife, stared at the ceiling. I had two choices, destroy them now or protect Emma first. I chose Emma. Thursday morning, chemo day number 33. Jennifer kissed me goodbye at the door, told me she'd meet me at the clinic after her shift. She was wearing scrubs. Her hair was pulled back. She looked tired, beautiful, like a woman who'd been taking care of her sick husband for 8 months. I love you, she said. I watched her drive away. Then I called her mother. Carol answered on the second ring. Thomas, how are you feeling, honey? I'm okay. Listen, Carol, I wanted to ask you something about Jennifer's visits. Visits? Yeah, she's been coming over a lot lately to help you with your medications. I know it's been hard with your blood pressure issues, and I just wanted to make sure you were doing all right. The line went quiet. I could hear a television in the background. The Price is Right. Thomas, Carol said slowly, Jennifer hasn't been here in months, not since Christmas. My hand tightened on the phone. Are you sure? Of course I'm sure. I keep asking her to visit, but she says she's too busy with work and taking care of you. Carol's voice shifted. Concern crept in. Thomas, is something wrong? No, I must have gotten confused. The chemo, it messes with my memory sometimes. Oh, honey, that's understandable. You tell Jennifer to bring Emma by this weekend, okay? I miss my grandbaby. I will. I hung up, sat in my car. The oncology clinic was 3 blocks away. I was supposed to be there in 15 minutes. I called Carol back. Carol, I need to ask you something else. Has Jennifer told you anything about me? About how I've been handling treatment? She said you're doing well, that you're strong, that you don't like to complain. Did she ever say I didn't want you to visit? That I was too proud to accept help? Another pause. Longer this time. Yes, Carol said. She said that about 2 months ago. Said you were embarrassed about how sick you'd gotten and didn't want me to see you like that. I believed her, Thomas. I thought I was respecting your wishes. Carol's voice went quiet. Then, Thomas, Jennifer told me you asked her not to visit because of your pride. I didn't go to chemo that day. I called Dr. Wilson's office and rescheduled. Then I drove to the Riverside Motel. It was the kind of place you pass without noticing. Single story, cracked parking lot, neon sign that said vacants because the Y had burned out. 15 minutes from our house, 20 minutes from the hospital where Jennifer worked. I parked across the street and waited. At 2:30 p.m., David's truck pulled into the lot. My truck, technically, the 2015 Ford F-150 I'd let him borrow when his car broke down 6 months ago. The one I'd been making payments on while he lived in my house rent-free. Jennifer's Honda arrived 10 minutes later. I watched them meet in the parking lot. Watched my brother open her car door. Watched Jennifer laugh at something he said. Watched them walk to room 217. I watched my brother carry my wife over the threshold. Like a groom, like I had 9 years ago. My phone was in my hand. I took 3 photos. The truck, Jennifer's car, David carrying her through the door, the room number visible, 217. I sat in my car for 20 minutes. My hands weren't shaking anymore. I was past that. I was somewhere else entirely. A place where your body goes numb and your mind goes sharp and you start seeing everything in evidence, everything in proof. The motel clerk was watching me from the office window. I got out of the car and walked over. Help you? He was maybe 19. Acne scars, bored eyes. That truck, I said, pointing to David's F-150. How often does it come here? The clerk looked at me. At my hospital wristband, still on my arm from yesterday. At my skeletal frame. At my eyes. You a cop? No. Then I can't tell you that. I pulled out my wallet, put 2 20s on the counter. How often? He took the money. Tuesdays and Thursdays. For about 3 months now. Usually stays 2-3 hours. Always room 217? Yeah, guy requests it. Says his girlfriend likes the view. He laughed. There's no view, just the dumpster. You remember their names? Nah, man, he pays cash. I put another 20 on the counter. If they come back, I need you to call me. Sure thing. I walked back to my car, got in, drove home. I didn't cry. I thought I would, but I didn't. Maybe I was too tired. Maybe I'd already grieved this marriage during the 8 months Jennifer had been absent, not physically, but in every way that mattered. Maybe I'd been mourning us since the first chemo session when she'd said she had to work and I'd believed her. I watched my brother carry my wife over the threshold, like a groom, like I had 9 years ago. Emma was at school. Jennifer wouldn't be home for hours. David was busy. I went to Emma's room, found her pink tablet on the nightstand, plugged in and charging. She used it for school apps, educational games, video calls with Carol. I opened the file manager. There were dozens of voice recordings. Most were Emma practicing her spelling words, saying cat and dog and friend over and over in her sweet, serious voice. Then I found one dated 3 weeks ago, 4 minutes long, titled Mommy Talk. I pressed play. Emma's voice was small, uncertain, the way kids sound when they're asking something they're scared to know. Mommy, why do you tell Daddy you're at Grandma's when you're with Uncle David? I could hear cartoons playing in the background. SpongeBob, Emma's favorite. Jennifer must have put it on to keep her distracted. Special mommy-daughter time, Jennifer called it. There were 7 seconds of dead air. 7 seconds of Jennifer deciding what lie to tell. Baby, grown-ups have special friendships. Daddy's sick. He wouldn't understand. This is our secret, okay? But Mrs. Patterson says secrets that make you feel bad aren't good secrets. This isn't a bad secret. Jennifer's voice was patient, calm. The voice she used when she was explaining why Emma couldn't have ice cream before dinner. This is a grown-up secret. Daddy's very sick right now, and we don't want to worry him with grown-up things. Do you understand? But I don't like secrets. I know, baby. Secrets make my tummy hurt. Then don't think about it. The recording ended. I sat on Emma's bed holding the tablet. My 6-year-old daughter had been carrying this weight. While I was fighting for my life, I played it again and again. I must have listened 5 times. Each time the pause got longer, those 7 seconds where Jennifer decided what lie to tell. Each time Emma's voice sounded smaller. Secrets make my tummy hurt. On the wall above Emma's bed, she'd taped a drawing, not one of the ones from her backpack, a new one. It showed 3 people, me, Emma, and a dog. We didn't have a dog. The caption said, "My family when Daddy gets better." Jennifer wasn't in the picture. I spent the next 2 hours in my office with the door locked. I pulled up our bank statements for the past 6 months, organized them by date, started highlighting. March, $1,200 transfer to David Hayes. Memo, rent help. April, $1,800 transfer to David Hayes. Memo, car repair. May, $2,100 transfer to David Hayes. Memo, medical emergency. June, $1,500 transfer to David Hayes. Memo, groceries. July, $1,200 transfer to David Hayes. Memo, loan repayment. Total $8,700. I logged into David's email. I still had his password from when I'd helped him set up his account 2 years ago. He'd never changed it. I found what I was looking for in 30 seconds. Email from Golden Palace Casino. Subject, outstanding balance, final notice. David owed them $12,000. The email was dated 4 months ago. I scrolled through his text with Jennifer. David, I need another $2K. They're threatening to go to collections. Jennifer, I already gave you $1,500 last week. Thomas is going to notice. David, so, tell him it's for my medical bills or something. He's so doped up on chemo drugs he won't question it. Jennifer, I'll figure it out, but this is the last time. David, you said that last month. Jennifer, I mean it this time. David, sure you do. Hey, can you come by tomorrow? Room 217, 2 p.m.? Jennifer, Tuesday is his chemo day. I can do 3. David, perfect. The text thread went on, months of it, planning their schedule around my treatment, laughing about my medication side effects, David complaining about the motel's Wi-Fi, Jennifer sending him photos, not even of herself, of our bank statements, calculating how much they could take without me noticing. She'd been stealing from my medical fund, giving it to him. While I was losing weight, I couldn't afford to lose. That evening, I had an appointment with Dr. Wilson, my regular check-in. She was reviewing my latest scans when I asked. Dr. Wilson, I have a question about my appointments. She looked up from her computer. Of course. Has Jennifer been coming to these? I'm having trouble remembering. Dr. Wilson's face softened. The look doctors give you when they think you're losing your grip on reality. Thomas, it's normal to have some memory issues with the treatment intensity you've been under. Let me check my notes. She scrolled through her records. Her expression changed. Oh, she looked at me. Thomas, she hasn't been to an appointment in 6 months. I assumed you were separated. 6 months. The last time I saw her was February 8th, your diagnosis appointment. Dr. Wilson's voice was gentle, professional. I have notes here that you've attended every follow-up alone, every results meeting, every adjustment discussion. I thought about February 8th, the day we got the stage 3 diagnosis. Jennifer had held my hand in the doctor's office, cried, promised she'd be there for everything, in sickness and in health, she'd said. She'd been to 1 appointment in 8 months. Dr. Wilson, I said, can you print those notes for me? Of course. She paused. Thomas, is everything okay? No, I said, but it will be. She printed the appointment log. 17 appointments. 16 attended by patient alone. 1 attended with spouse. I folded the papers and put them in my jacket pocket. Dr. Wilson, I need one more favor. If I need you to testify to these facts in court, would you be willing? She looked at me for a long moment. Understanding crossed her face. Yes, she said, I would. I picked Emma up from school myself that day. She ran to the car with her backpack bouncing, her smile gap-toothed and perfect. Daddy, you came. I'll always come, baby. On the drive to Carol's house, Emma chattered about her day, about how Jacob stole Madison's eraser and got in trouble, about how they were learning subtraction, about how Mrs. Patterson let her be line leader. Daddy, she said suddenly, are you feeling better? I'm getting there. Good. I don't like it when you're sick. I know, baby. Mommy says you're going to be all better soon. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. What else does Mommy say? Emma was quiet for a moment. She says grown-ups have secrets. Emma. I pulled into Carol's driveway and turned to face her. Did Mommy tell you not to talk to me about Uncle David? Her face crumpled. I'm not supposed to tell. Baby, look at me. I unbuckled her seatbelt and pulled her onto my lap. She was crying now, quiet tears that broke my heart. You didn't do anything wrong. Do you understand? Nothing that happened is your fault. But Mommy said, I know what Mommy said, but Mommy was wrong. Secrets that make your tummy hurt? Those are bad secrets, and you don't have to keep them anymore. She buried her face in my chest. I tried to make them stop. I know you did. I heard you. You did? Yes, on your tablet. You asked Mommy why she was lying to me. Emma pulled back, looked at me with those big eyes, Jennifer's eyes. Are you mad at me? No, baby, I'm proud of you. You were so brave. Daddy? Her voice was tiny. Are you going to fix Mommy's lies? I kissed her forehead, held her close, made a promise I intended to keep. Yes, baby, I am. Carol opened the front door. I'd called ahead, explained everything. She was crying when she hugged Emma, held her tight, took her inside to make cookies and watch movies, and be anywhere but in the middle of this. Before I left, Carol stopped me at the door. Thomas, she said, whatever you need, I'm here. I need you to keep Emma this weekend. Can you do that? Of course. She looked at me. What are you going to do? I'm going to protect my daughter. If you've ever had to protect someone innocent from an ugly truth, someone who trusted you to keep them safe, you know this weight. This moment when you realize the person they love has been hurting them and you're the only one who can stop it. I spent that night organizing evidence. I made a folder, labeled it simply 217. Inside, 3 drawings from Emma, photocopied and dated. The voice recording backed up to 3 locations, photos of David's truck and Jennifer's car at the motel. Credit card statements with Riverside Motel charges highlighted bank statements showing $8,700 in transfers to David's casino debt emails. Text messages between David and Jennifer Dr. Wilson's appointment logged Carol's written statement about Jennifer's lies. I bought a body camera online. Express shipping. It would arrive tomorrow. I charged my phone. Checked my calendar. Tuesday was in 3 days. Jennifer would tell me she had to work. David would request room 217. They'd meet at 2:30 p.m., give or take. And I would be there. I looked at my wedding ring, still on my finger. I'd never taken it off, not once in 9 years. Not during surgery, not during chemo, not when my hands swelled so bad it cut into my skin. I twisted it. Thought about taking it off. Not yet. I went to check on the guest room, David's room. The door was closed. I opened it. His bed was unmade, dirty clothes on the floor. My clothes, shirts and jackets I'd given him, pizza boxes stacked by the trash can, my Xbox controllers on his nightstand, my Netflix logged in on his laptop. On his dresser was a photo. David and Jennifer at some restaurant, smiling. Recent, Jennifer's hair was shorter, the way she'd cut it 2 months ago. I took the photo, added it to the folder. Then I went to my bedroom. Jennifer was already asleep, curled on her side. I lay down beside her, stared at the ceiling. In 3 days, this would be over. Emma would be safe. The truth would be public. Justice would come. I closed my eyes. We don't leave, I thought. Not the people we love. Not when things get hard, but I wasn't leaving. They'd already left. 8 months ago, maybe longer. I was just making it official. Tuesday came. I was wearing the body camera under my jacket. Small, black, clipped to my collar, recording everything. I'd tested it 3 times that morning. Jennifer kissed me goodbye at 9 a.m. I have a double shift today, she said. Won't be home until late. Okay. How are you feeling? Do you need anything before I go? No, I'm fine. She looked at me for a moment. Something flickered in her eyes, concern maybe, or suspicion, but then she smiled, kissed me again, left. David came downstairs at 10, made himself coffee with my coffee maker, ate my cereal, sat on my couch. You good, man? He asked. Yeah. You look tired. Chemo. He nodded, went back to his phone. At 1:45 p.m. he stood up. I'm heading out. Got a job interview. Good luck. Thanks, man. You're the best. He left. I waited 5 minutes. Then I followed. The Riverside Motel parking lot was half empty. David's truck was already there, parked in front of room 217. I pulled in across the street in the same spot I'd used before. The motel clerk saw me through the window, nodded. At 2:38 p.m., Jennifer's Honda pulled in. I watched her park, Watched her check her makeup in the rearview mirror, watched her get out, smooth her dress, walk to room 217. David opened the door before she could knock. He was smiling. He pulled her inside. I waited 10 minutes, long enough. Then I got out of my car. The motel clerk was watching. 2 other guests were in the parking lot. A man unloading luggage from his trunk, a woman on her phone by the ice machine. Good. Witnesses. I walked to room 217. My hand was steady when I knocked. Housekeeping, I said, footsteps inside. The door opened. David stood there in his boxers. He went white. Thomas. I pushed past him. Jennifer was on the bed, pulling the sheets around herself. Her dress was on the floor, next to David's jeans, next to the bottle of wine I'd bought for our anniversary 3 months ago. Thomas! Jennifer's voice was sharp, panicked. What are you doing here? You're supposed to be at treatment. I rescheduled. The body camera was recording. Every word, every detail, the unmade bed, the empty wine bottle, the way David was backing toward the bathroom. Room 217, I said. That's the number. You've been here 8 times in 2 months. 14 times total since March. Every Tuesday and Thursday, my chemo days. Thomas, you're sick. You're confused. This isn't... I pulled out my phone, held it up. I have photos, timestamps, credit card receipts. You've been charging our affair to our joint account, the same card that paid for my cancer medication. Jennifer's face changed. The panic shifted to calculation. I'd seen that look before, when she was deciding what lie to tell. We can explain, David said. His voice was shaking. Man, just let us get dressed and we can explain what? How you've been living in my house, rent-free, for 2 years. How I gave you $8,700 for emergencies that you spent on gambling debts. How you fucked my wife in motels I paid for while I was dying. You're not dying, Jennifer said. She said it coldly, like it was an accusation. You're in remission, Dr. Wilson said. Dr. Wilson said you haven't been to an appointment in 6 months. I have her records, 17 appointments, 16 alone. I pulled the folder from inside my jacket, the one labeled 217. Opened it. I also have these. I held up Emma's drawing. The first one, the one with purple hearts and stick figures, and the caption, Mommy and Uncle David, Secret Place. Jennifer's face went white. Where did you get that? Our daughter's backpack. She's been drawing them for 6 months, documenting your affair in crayon while I was in chemotherapy. David sat down on the bed, put his head in his hands. I have 3 of them, I continued, all dated, all showing you 2 together. Emma brought one to school for the family unit project. Her teacher called me. I held up Emma's drawing. Jennifer's face went white. Our daughter's been watching. Here's the question I had to answer in that moment. Do you expose the betrayal publicly and risk the fallout? Or do you handle it quietly to protect everyone involved? I chose public. Get dressed, I said. Both of you. We're doing this the right way. Thomas, please. Jennifer started. Get dressed. They did, in silence. David couldn't look at me. Jennifer kept trying to speak, but I held up my hand. When they were dressed, I opened the door. The motel clerk was still at the window. The man with luggage had stopped to watch. The woman on her phone was recording. Good. I'm Thomas Hayes, I said loudly. My voice carried across the parking lot. That's my wife, Jennifer Hayes. That's my brother, David Hayes. They've been having an affair for 8 months while I've been undergoing treatment for stage 3 colon cancer. I have proof, photos, financial records, voice recordings, and drawings from my 6-year-old daughter who's been keeping their secret. The woman on her phone kept recording. The motel clerk came outside. 2 more people emerged from rooms to see what was happening. Thomas, don't do this, Jennifer whispered. I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman I'd married. This woman I'd built a life with. This woman who'd held my hand during my diagnosis and then disappeared. You already did it, I said. I'm just making sure everyone knows. I filed for divorce the next day. Emergency custody hearing was scheduled for the following week. Jennifer tried to fight it, hired a lawyer, claimed I was mentally unstable due to chemotherapy, said I was having delusions, that Emma's drawings were misunderstood, that the affair was a lie I'd constructed because the cancer had made me paranoid. Her lawyer was expensive. I later found out David had paid for it with money Jennifer had stolen from our account. But I had evidence, mountains of it. The custody hearing was on a Tuesday. Carol sat behind me in the courtroom. Dr. Wilson was there, ready to testify. The motel clerk had agreed to give a statement. Judge Morrison was a woman in her 50s. She'd been a family court judge for 20 years. She looked tired, like she'd seen every variation of human ugliness and wasn't surprised by anything anymore. Jennifer's lawyer spoke first, talked about how Jennifer was a devoted mother, a dedicated nurse, how she'd been under tremendous stress caring for a terminally ill spouse, how sometimes people make mistakes when they're overwhelmed. Then my lawyer stood up. Your Honor, I'd like to submit evidence. She handed the judge the folder, all of it, the drawings, the recordings, the financial statements, Dr. Wilson's appointment logs, the photos. Judge Morrison was quiet for a long time. She looked at each drawing carefully. She read Emma's captions. She listened to the voice recording, all 4 minutes of it. Emma's small voice asking why Mommy was lying. Jennifer's cold response. When the recording ended, the courtroom was silent. Judge Morrison looked at Jennifer. These drawings were created by a 6-year-old child who was being used as an alibi. Your Honor, Emma doesn't understand. Answer the question, Mrs. Hayes. Jennifer's jaw tightened. Yes. And you allowed your 6-year-old daughter to believe she needed to keep your secrets. Secrets that, according to this recording, made her physically ill? I was trying to protect her from what? The truth? That her mother was abandoning her father during cancer treatment to have an affair with his brother? Jennifer said nothing. Judge Morrison turned to me. Mr. Hayes, what are you asking for? Full custody, supervised visitation only for Jennifer. A restraining order against David. He's not to contact me or my daughter. And I want full disclosure of all financial records. $8,700 was transferred to David Hayes without my knowledge or consent. The judge made notes. Dr. Wilson, you're present? Dr. Wilson stood. Yes, Your Honor. In your professional opinion, has Mr. Hayes shown any signs of mental instability or delusion? No, Your Honor. Thomas has been one of the most clear-headed patients I've worked with. His memory is intact. His decision-making capacity is not impaired. He's been remarkably strong throughout his treatment. And Mrs. Hayes attended only one of 17 appointments? That's correct, Your Honor. Judge Morrison made more notes, looked at Jennifer again, at David sitting in the back row, silent. Then she spoke. I'm granting full custody to Thomas Hayes, effective immediately. Jennifer Hayes will have supervised visitation rights 2 hours per week, supervised by a court-appointed guardian. David Hayes is prohibited from contacting either Thomas or Emma Hayes. Financial restitution in the amount of $8,700 is to be paid by Jennifer Hayes to Thomas Hayes within 90 days. Court costs and legal fees are the responsibility of Jennifer Hayes. She paused, looked directly at Jennifer. Mrs. Hayes, I've been doing this job for 20 years. I've seen a lot of bad decisions. But weaponizing a 6-year-old child to hide an affair from a cancer patient? That's a new low. The judge handed me the custody order. Full custody. Emma was safe. Jennifer's visits would be supervised by a court-appointed stranger. The consequences came fast after that. Jennifer's nursing supervisor contacted me 3 days after the hearing. Her name was Margaret. She was professional but cold. Mr. Hayes, we've been made aware of the situation. We're placing Jennifer on administrative leave pending an ethics review. Ethics review? A nurse who abandons a cancer patient even if that patient is her spouse, raises serious concerns about her professional judgment and commitment to care. The board will make a final determination, but... Margaret paused. I've already spoken to 3 board members. The consensus is that her license will be suspended, possibly revoked. Jennifer lost her nursing license 6 weeks later. Ethics violation, abandonment of a vulnerable patient, conduct unbecoming of a medical professional. She lost her job, lost her income, lost her house. The divorce settlement awarded it to me along with full custody. She had to move into an apartment, small, 1 bedroom, in the next town over because everyone in ours knew what she'd done. The video from the motel confrontation had gone viral in our small town. The woman on her phone had posted it. Within 48 hours, everyone knew. The grocery store, the church, Emma's school, everyone. Jennifer couldn't go anywhere without people whispering, pointing. Some were subtle, others were not. Carol stopped speaking to her. I raised you better than this, she told Jennifer during one of the supervised visits. I wasn't there, but the court guardian told me, you broke that man while he was dying, and you used Emma to do it. David got evicted. His landlord, who was also our neighbor, gave him notice the day after the hearing. I don't want people like you in my building, he'd said. David showed up at the house 3 days later, tried to get in. I had the locks changed. Thomas, please. I'm sorry, I fucked up. I need help. You need to leave. I'm your brother. No, I said. You're not. The restraining order was served the next day. David couldn't come within 500 feet of me or Emma, couldn't contact us, couldn't attend family events. Carol made it official at church. I wasn't there. I was too tired that Sunday. But she told me later she'd stood up during community prayer time, 80 years old, spine straight, voice clear. I want everyone to know, she'd said, that I have 2 sons. I used to have 3, but David Hayes is no longer my son. He betrayed his brother during the hardest time of his life. He hurt my granddaughter, and I will not forgive that. If you see him, do not tell him where I live. Do not tell him anything about my family. He made his choice. David left town 2 months later, moved 2 states over. I heard through mutual friends that he couldn't keep a job, that his credit was destroyed, that people who knew the story wouldn't associate with him. Good. Some people say forgiveness is strength. I think protecting your child is stronger. If you agree, drop protect first below. 6 months later, I rang the bell. The one at the oncology clinic that patients ring when they finish treatment and go into remission. It's brass, mounted on the wall, with a plaque that says, ring this bell 3 times well. It's toll to clearly say my treatment's done, this course is run, and I am on my way. I rang it 3 times. Nurses cheered. Dr. Wilson hugged me. Carol cried. Emma stood next to me, holding my hand, beaming. You did it, Daddy. We did it, baby. My scans were clear. 6 months cancer-free. The odds had been 40-60 when I started treatment. Stage 3 colon cancer is brutal, but I'd made it. 47 pounds lighter, $97,000 in medical debt, 1 divorce, 1 restraining order, but alive. And Emma was safe. Emma brought home a new drawing the next week. I found it on the kitchen table when I got home from physical therapy. The paper was bright, vibrant colors, yellow sun, blue sky, green grass. 2 stick figures holding hands, 1 tall, 1 small, both smiling. The caption in Emma's careful printing, "My daddy is strong." I taped it to the refrigerator, right where the old drawings used to be. Same space, different story. That afternoon, Emma and I went to the park. Carol came with us. We had a picnic. Emma ran through the grass, chasing butterflies, laughing. The sound of it, pure joy, untainted, made my chest ache in a good way. She's healing, Carol said. We were sitting on a bench, watching Emma play. I know. So are you. Getting there. Carol put her hand on mine. Thomas, you taught her something important. You taught her that love means staying. I thought about that, about all the people who'd left. Jennifer, David, the friends who'd stopped calling when my hair fell out, when I got too sick to hang out, when cancer made me inconvenient. And then I thought about the ones who stayed. Carol, Dr. Wilson, Emma, the neighbors who brought casseroles, the church members who drove me to appointments, the motel clerk who'd given me evidence when he didn't have to. Family isn't always blood. Daddy. Emma ran over, out of breath. Can we get ice cream? Sure, baby. Can we get the kind with sprinkles? Whatever you want. She hugged me, tight, the way 6-year-olds hug when they feel safe. On the drive home, Emma was quiet. Unusual for her. She was staring out the window, thinking about something. Daddy? She said finally. Yeah, baby? Why did Mommy leave? My hands tightened on the steering wheel. We talked about this before, but she still asked sometimes, still trying to understand. Some people don't know how to stay when things get hard, I said, but we do. We stay. Because we love each other? Because we love each other. Emma nodded, satisfied. Went back to looking out the window. That night I tucked her into bed. She'd taped her new drawing on the wall, right over the space where the old ones had been. Same wall, different story. Daddy? Yeah? I'm not scared anymore. Me neither, baby. She fell asleep in 30 seconds, her hand in mine. I sat there for a while, watching her breathe, watching her chest rise and fall, steady and calm. No more secrets making her tummy hurt, no more lies she had to carry. I thought about everything I'd lost, the marriage, the brother, the version of my life I'd thought I was living. And I thought about what I'd kept. Emma, my life, my dignity. I thought about the wedding ring, still in my drawer. I'd taken it off the day the divorce was finalized. Hadn't thrown it away. Couldn't yet. Maybe someday. But for now, it was enough to be here, in this quiet moment, in this small room, with star-shaped nightlights and crayon drawings on the wall. We don't leave. Blood doesn't always mean family. Family means staying when it's hard. If you found your found family, people who stayed when others left, tell me about them below. I'd love to hear your story.